lockdown, we cannot go out, we cannot travel. So I thought of making one video that is online heritage walk to Mumbai. So we all are going to be at home, but with our laptops and with our mobile phones, we all are going to experience the past and would walk through the Mayanagri Mumbai, the city with the largest slum in Asia, Dharavi, along with India's glamorous Bollywood industry. This is the city which grew from a small fishing village to a large India's commercial capital. If you walk through the city, I'm sure you won't be able to miss hidden history behind the crowded lanes of Mumbai. So let's have a look. Let's begin with the Kala Ghoda, an art district in downtown Mumbai. It has many of the city's heritage buildings and is full of museums, art galleries, and educational institutions. The name Kala Ghoda means black horse, a reference to the presence of a black stone statue of King Edward VII mounted on a horse. King Edward VII was the then Prince of Wales, although this statue was removed from the precinct in 1965 and subsequently placed inside the Byculla Zoo. The Esplanade Mansion, India's oldest surviving cast iron building, is in Kala Ghoda. Formerly known as Watson Hotel, it was the site where films were introduced to India, with a screening of the Lumiere Brothers cinematograph in 1896. Today, Kala Ghoda is a creative area with designer cafes, indie galleries, and sidewalk art stalls. Jahangir Art Gallery and the National Gallery of Modern Art showcase contemporary visual arts, while a mix of history and art exhibits are displayed in the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya, that is museum. The annual Kala Ghoda Art Festival is popular for its edgy installations, performances and discussions. Kala Ghoda Arts Festival is the country's largest multicultural festival, taking place in February every year. The festival draws visitors in large numbers, not just from the city but from all over the country and the world. We also have Kala Ghoda Association, which was formed on 30th October 1998, with the object of maintaining and preserving the heritage and art district of South Mumbai. Now I'm going to take you to a large park in South Mumbai, which is known to us as Horniman Circle Gardens. It encompasses an area of 12,081 square yards. It is surrounded by office complexes housing the country's premier banks. Designed to be a large open space with grand buildings in the middle of the walled city, the area had been known as Bombay Greens in the 18th century, while the area around it was called Elphinstone Circle. Following India's independence in 1947, the area was renamed in honor of Benjamin Horniman, editor of the Bombay Chronicle newspaper, who supported Indian independence. Horniman Circle hosts the annual Sufi and mystic music festival Ruhaniyat. It is also one of the venues of the Kala Ghoda Arts Festival, when several music and dance concerts are held at the park. Let's move to our next destination. Part of Old Mumbai, lively Colaba has a seaside promenade that begins at the Gateway of India. The promenade passes high-end fashion boutiques and the iconic Taj Mahal Palace Hotel. Nearby Colaba Causeway is lined with decades-old cafes, modern restaurants and outdoor stalls selling handcrafted souvenirs. As we are at Colaba, let me quickly take you all to Gateway of India. The monument faces towards the Mumbai harbour. It was erected to commemorate the landing in December 1911 of King George V and Queen Mary, the first British monarch to visit India. At the time of the royal visit, the gateway was not yet built and a cardboard structure greeted the monarch. The final design of the monument by architect George Whitted was sanctioned only in 1914 and construction was completed in 1924. After its construction, the gateway has been called a symbol of conquest and colonization, commemorating British colonial legacy. Coming to its architecture, the gateway's arc has a height of 26 meters, that is 85 feet, with its central dome being 15 meters, that is 49 feet in diameter. The monument is built of yellow basalt and reinforced concrete. There are 4 turrets on the structure of the gateway, and there are steps constructed behind the arch of the gateway which lead to the Arabian Sea. The monument features intricate stone lattice work, also known as the Jali work. The Scottish architect George Whitted combined elements of the Roman triumphal arch and 16th century architecture of Gujarat. The architecture also combines indigenous architectural elements with elements of Islamic architecture. On each side of the arch, there are large halls with the capacity to hold 600 people. As we all are at Gateway of India, let's quickly buy a ticket of a ferry to Elephanta Island. Elephanta Island, also called Gharapuri Island or Place of Caves or Pori Island, is one of a number of islands in Mumbai. Known in ancient times as Gharapuri, the name Elephanta Island was given by 16th century Portuguese explorers after seeing a monolithic basalt sculpture of an elephant found near the entrance. This island is a popular tourist destination because of the island's cave temples, the Elephanta Caves, that had been carved out of rock. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site created between 450 and 750 AD. The main Shiva dedicated temple is an intriguing lattice work of courtyards, halls, pillars and shrines. Its magnum opus is 6-meter tall statue of Sadashiv depicting a three-faced Shiva as the destroyer, creator and preserver of the universe, his eyes closed in eternal contemplation. Today it has a population of about 1200. The inhabitants are mainly involved in growing rice, fishing and repairing boats. There are a total of 3 villages, Shentbandar, Morabandar and Rajbandar, of which Rajbandar is the capital. Caves and stalls can be seen in Shentbandar. Morabandar has a thick forest, and please remember, staying overnight is not permitted for tourists. Now let's see, where do we land next? Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Terminus. The terminus is the headquarters of India's Central Railway. It is one of the busiest railway stations in India, serving as a terminal for both long distance and suburban trains. It was built as the headquarters of the Great Indian Peninsular Railway during the British era. Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus, also known by its former name Victoria Terminus, is a historic terminal train station and UNESCO World Heritage Site in Mumbai. The terminus was designed by British-born architectural engineer Frederick William Stevens. Its construction began in 1878 and was completed in 1887. The structure reflects an exuberant Italian Gothic style. Largely, the building exhibits a fusion of influences from Victorian Italianate, Gothic Revival architecture and classical Indian architecture. You may check out the turrets, pointed arches, the wood carving, tiles, ornamental iron and brass railings, grills, etc. It is one of the first and finest products of the use of industrial technology. The main structure is built from a blend of India sandstone and limestone, while high quality Italian marble was used for the key decorative elements. It is crowned by a high central dome which acts as the focal point. The dome is an octagonal ribbed structure with a colossal female figure symbolizing progress, holding a torch pointing upwards in her right hand and a spoked wheel in her left hand. The columns of the entrance gates are crowned by figures of a lion representing Great Britain and a tiger representing India. Now I'll take you all for a reality tour through the largest slum area of Asia, Dharavi. Dharavi has an area of just over 2.1 square kilometers and a population of about 7 lakh. It is one of the most densely populated areas in the world. Here you can experience a wide range of business activities, recycling, pottery making, soap factory, leather tanning and many more. We cannot forget to mention that Dharavi exports goods around the world. Often, these consist of various leather products, jewelry, various accessories and textiles. Markets for Dharavi's goods include stores in the United States, Europe and the Middle East. Finally, via this beautiful Bandra Worli Sea link, we are heading to the Worli Fort. The Worli Fort was built by the British around 1675. It was used as a lookout for enemy ships and pirates. Sadly, much of the fort is in ruins today and a slum has enveloped the edifice. Mumbai, or say India, is full of heritage sites with thousands of historical monuments. The challenge is to preserve the cultural heritage and promote visitors. We often visit foreign countries before even exploring our own land.